understand the linear regression for the continuous output. So here we have the data set for the size of the house. Then based on the size of the house, we try to predict the price for the particular house. So here uh, we have to first define the hypothesis for this particular. As you all are the faculty, so whenever you categorize the post, so assistant professor and professor, so here you are applying the classifier, means output. But whenever we decide the salary based on the experience and qualification, so this is something, if you want to find the new salary for the new faculty, so you can apply this linear regression. So we have many examples for this one. So here we will continue with this housing price. So we have the price, we have the size of the house. Based on that, you have to predict the price. So now we will take this hypothesis. Here hypothesis is that we have only one variable, q theta 0 and theta 1 are variables, parameters, which is required to tune based on this training. So here you can see that we have to take the hypothesis. So I have taken this hypothesis. I am assuming that this is the linear hypothesis, but basically we don't know whether it is linear or quadratic. But here I am assuming this linear. So based on that linear hypothesis, based on this data value of the x features, you try to tune theta 0 and theta 1. Then suppose you apply the gradient descent method, which is one of the optimizer to optimize this theta 0 and theta 1, means to tune this theta 0 and theta 1. Then you will get this theta 0 and theta 1 automatically. Then after getting this value theta 0 and theta 1, whenever the new data points means the size of the house will come, and you have to predict the price for that house, then you can, based on this hypothesis, you can predict the price for this house. Now here the output is the continuous. So how this hypothesis means how our error function is optimized. So based on the output and this hypothesis, we will design the cost function, and then we will try to optimize this one. So how you will find the error? So you can see here we have different data points, and based on the difference from this chosen hypothesis, you have to take the you have to add all the errors. That will be the final error for this particular model. So the purpose is to try to reduce the error. Now based on that, we try to use the logistic regression. So here, for the conceptual point of view, I have taken the binary class, because red wine is a multi-class problem. So here we will try to discuss this logistic regression through the binary class only. So as you know, we require the training data set. Now we try to tune. We have taken this hypothesis. Suppose you have two features, x1 and x2. Then we try to optimize this theta 0, theta 1, theta 2. So based on that, we will design the cost function, and we will optimize through the gradient descent method. Then we will automatically get the tuned value for this theta 0, theta 1 and theta 2. Here we need the binary value, means we try to classify into two binary. This should work as the binary classifier. So here we will use the logistic function, or you can say the sigmoid function. you can use this function, and then you will get, you are generating the new hypothesis for this logistic regression here, because this will produce the real, but whenever you apply this sigmoid function, this sigmoid function further you will convert into the binary through this formulation here. You can say, if you hypothesis value which you got from here, okay, z, so theta transport x, this one s theta x. If so, if you draw the sigmoid function, so you will get this one. Okay, in this way means that if the value for z, which is the theta transport x, is greater than 0, in that case your sigmoid, your this g z will give the higher value than 0.5. So if your hypothesis is greater than equal to 0.5, in that case you can classify the new data point into the 1. Otherwise you have to classify into 0. So in this way you can this design the logistic regression, and here the important part is that whenever you have the data points, okay, so we try to find the decision boundary. Where will be the decision boundary, so that we can classify uh, our data points. So here I am assuming -3 for the theta 0, 1 for the theta 1, and 1 for the theta 2. Here just I am assuming, but through proper procedure we will get this theta 0, theta 1, and theta 2 automatically. I told, uh, first of all you have to define the cost function, then you will optimize the cost function. Then if you apply the gradient descent method for this theta 0, theta 1, theta 2 simultaneously, you will get the optimal value for these parameters. So finally you assume this one, and we will get -3 x1 plus x3. So you can, here you can see that this equation, if you equate with 0, you will get x1 plus x2 equal to 3. So at the equal points you will get one equation, x1 plus x2 equal to 3. So here you can easily see that this will be, this kind of the decision boundary will come. Okay, so here this will be the decision boundary here. Now so here we have taken the linear decision boundary. Now here same thing is here. If so we have decided the decision boundary. Based on that, whether your new data point will be the belongs to the class 1 or 0, you can predict. Now see with the example how you will calculate. There is a very simple example where we have the some information about the person which have the two features x1 and x2. Then we have to identify whether the particular person is male or female. So we have some training data. Based on that we train the model, and after training the model we will get the tuned value, means optimal value for this theta is like that. Theta 0 is this one, 0.69, and theta 1 is -0.49. Similarly for the theta 2, 0.19. So you, after tuning, after applying the gradient descent method, you got this one based on the training data. I have not mentioned here the training data. Then you have to find the new person, which x0, x1, and x2 is the one I have taken, because here x0 is 1, because we have only two features. So x1 and x2 are 17 and 80. So whenever you perform, you will calculate this theta transpose or x, so you will get this value 1.91. So this z is greater than 0. So what so this will belong So if it is the greater than 0, I have considered it will belong to the male class. If it is less than 0, it will belong to the female class. So in this way, you can classify your data. Now, so far we have discussed about the linear decision boundary, but it is not necessarily every time you will get the linear decision boundary. You may get the non-linear. So in that case, you have to decide your hypothesis in this polynomial way. So here, suppose we have decided this hypothesis, and we try to assign the value. But again, the thing is that we cannot assign manually. It is automatically decided through the procedure, and these values are assigned automatically. But for the convenience, we can observe the data points here. So we can say the decision boundary will be the circular. So I have assigned this one, and we will get this value. So decision boundary, you can see here, x1 square plus x2 square equal to 1, means we will get some circular boundary here. So the thing is that, so how you will design the cost function? So based on the hypothesis, as we discussed, so based on the hypothesis, so we will get, and based on the class level, why is the class level? Based on the hypothesis and training data set, in the training data set we have the class level, we will get this cost function for the logistic regression. We have some mathematical steps involved in that. I ignored that. If you want to see in the detail, you just go through that. Then after that, you will get this, after combining these two, you will get this cost function, or you can say the objective functions as a whole. Then the thing is that you try to minimize this cost function j theta. Then how you will minimize? Using the gradient descent method, you have to simultaneously find this theta. So theta 0, theta 1, theta 2, you have to simultaneously optimize, and finally you will get some optimal value for this theta 0, theta 1 and theta 2, so on. So here I am using the gradient descent method to optimize this. Now here you can say that we are taking differentiation. So here it is important that whatever the thing you are going to apply, z theta, must be the continuous function. You cannot apply for the discrete. Okay. So now, for suppose you have the multi-class, because I have taken the red wine data set, so which is the multi-class. So here we have different approach to deal with the multi-class problem through the logistic regression. So here you can see that. So here one method is one versus all. So you have to go for the one class, rest other all the class will belong to the one another class. So here you can see in the figure that these two belongs to the another class. This one is in the one class. Similarly, after discriminating this class, you will perform operation on these two class. Then you will get the, you can separate these two class as well through the same procedure. So in this way, we can apply this logistic regression through the one versus rest method for the classification, multi-class classification. Now the thing is that here, if you see that our model, whenever you check experimentally that your model is not performing well on the red wine data set, so means there may be some possibility that either on the training as well as testing data set, both this model is not performing well, or it is performing well on the training data set but it is not performing well for the testing data set, or it is just right. So all these things, if you have the model, you have to check, whatever the hypothesis you have designed for the model, you have to check all these things through the this accuracy matrix. So here you can observe that we have the 5 data points. So here it is, you can observe that if we take the linear hypothesis, so we will get the high error on the training data set. Means this is underfitting. Means you are getting the high error on the training data set. So definitely it will produce the error on the testing data set. So this is called the underfitting, means high variance. Now here you can observe that we have taken the quadratic hypothesis. So here somehow it is fit to the data points. So here you will get the very less error in the training data set. Similarly, if you go for the testing, you will get less error. Means you will get high accuracy in terms of the training as well as the testing data set. Now here I have taken very refined base hypothesis, x to the power 3, x to the power 4, and we try to tune this values, theta 0, theta 1, theta 2, and theta 3. And so ultimately you will tune these values, and in that case you will find that on the training data set, this model, this hypothesis is performing very well. But whenever you use for the testing data set, the model is not performing well. Means basically what basically we try to do, we try to generalize the model so that this model will work for the all the testing data set as well, new data points as well, not only for the training data set. So this is the case of overfitting, high variance. Now, how you will address these issues? So these are the some points. Suppose you are facing the overfitting, then the some important step you may take: reduce the number of features, collect more training data set, or increase the regularization parameters. So regularization parameters, here you can see here lambda. Okay, so lambda is the regularization parameters here. So you have to increase the regularization parameter lambda. Now for the underfitting, you have to add polynomial features, because here you can observe that because of the linear equation it is going for the underfitting, you have to add more polynomial features. Now decrease the regularization parameters. So in this way you can handle the high bias. Now okay, so you are using the gradient descent methods, you have applied that regularization. So the thing is that how you will handle, and one more thing, that how many times you will run this gradient descent method. So how many runs, how many iterations you will go for this gradient descent method. So all these parameters we require to tune. So the thing is that, so how you will tune the parameters of the optimization method or parameters, as I told, the numbers of iteration for this gradient descent methods. So either you can tune through the hit and trial methods, or based on particular evidence you can see in the literature. If someone is has done already, based on that you can run your code, you can tune your parameters, or based on the domain knowledge you can tune your parameters. For especially for the unsupervised machine learning, for the supervised machine learning also similar kinds of the situation, but in the supervised methods tuning the parameter is comparatively easier. Now okay, all these things we have finished. Means we gather the data set from the based on our requirement, then we prepare the data set, we perform the pre-processing, we perform the features reductions, then we applied the model means we have performed the classifier on supervised machine learning model, logistic regression. Then how you will check the accuracy of this logistic regression on this particular data set, red wine data set. So for this one, uh, we have confusion matrix. So here through this confusion matrix we can get the precision recall and F1 score. So here you can see that we have 4 parameters: true, positive. These are the case in which we predicted S and are actually S. Similarly for true, negative, we predict no and no in the actual. False, positive, we predicted S but actual is not, and similarly for the false negative. So here we will find the precision and recall. So precision quantifies the number of positive class prediction that actually belongs to the positive class. Then recall quantifies the number of positive class prediction made out of all positive examples in the data set. And through the harmonic mean you can get the value for F1 score. So take through this example, anyway we have used the multi-class. Here I have taken the binary class. We will also see one example for the multi-class. So suppose you have the two class, minority and majority class, and we have some sample of the data points. So suppose your model predict 50 example belonging to the minority class and 45 of which are true positive and 5 of which are false positive. Then how you will calculate the precision? So you just put in the formula, you will get this value 0.9. Similarly, for the recall, a model makes the prediction and predict 90 of the positive class prediction correctly and 10 incorrectly. So in that case, you find the recall value after putting into this formula. Recall true positive divided by true positive plus false negative. Then finally, based on the taking the harmonic mean of this precision and recall, you can get the value for F1 score. But suppose you have the multi-class problem. Suppose in the majority class we have two subclass, and in the minority class also you have two subclass. In that case, how you will apply this formula? So for the precision, we have the formula for the true positive for the first subclass, true positive for the second subclass, divided by the true positive for the first subclass plus true positive for the second class plus false positive for the first plus false positive for the second. So in this way, you can see that suppose a model makes prediction, the predict 70 example for the first minority class where 50 are the correct and 20 are incorrect. It predicts 150 for the second class with the 99 correct and 51 incorrect. In that case, you have to find the precision like this one. Similarly, you can see here the recall, you can calculate the true positive for the second, and you can apply this formula. Here in the example, we have 77 examples correctly and 23 incorrectly for the class 1. And 95 correctly and 5 incorrectly for the class 2. Then you can find the recall. Then after taking the harmonic mean, you can find that F1 score. So in this way, you can find the accuracy for the machine learning model. So this is the last point where we discuss how you will find the accuracy for the model. Now, the conclusion is that, okay, all these are the important steps involved in the machine learning model we saw. Then even the data pre-processing, data preparation is a very important steps. Even it generally take 80%. And after performing the structure data and through the data preparation, it is also necessary to choose the appropriate machine learning algorithm so that this machine learning model will perform well for that data. Now, what is the recent trend? So basically, you can apply algorithm for to explore the new applications. This may be the further research aspect in this field. Even you can enhance your existing method or model through improving the pre-processing methods, or you can say through the improving the feature reduction methods, and or you can say the tuning the your parameter, and most importantly, you can also improve your model through based on the requirement, based on the your available data. So this is the book for the beginner in the machine learning. If you want to refer, you can refer as a beginner. Thank you. Sir, why they prefer the Python like programming instead MATLAB? See, why basically even in the time of the so they I'm replying to that why we prefer the Python like programming language instead of the MATLAB, if any. See, even in the my PhD time, I have work on the MATLAB. If you want to go for the MATLAB, it's okay. But thing is that as we saw for the Python, we have many notebook or you can easily get the programming which is done by the someone. So you will get the proper guideline at each and every step whenever you get stuck. And most of the industry now working on the Python itself. Okay, so that's why, and the most important thing is that Python is very rich, especially for the machine learning and deep learning with respect to the MATLAB. So that's why now I am referring this Python instead of this MATLAB. I hope your query got solved.